Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Florida Treasure Coast market update. Today we're going to compare Port St. Lucie prices to Palm City and Stuart. Stay tuned.
You better get fired up.
Guys, what's going on? It's good to see you. We're here every single Wednesday at 11 o'clock with the Florida Treasure Coast market update, where we talk about the market specifically here in Port St. Lucie. We have not done a deep dive on prices in Port St. Lucie compared to Stuart or Palm City. I've even done Jensen Beach, Fort Pierce in the past, but I want to look at it more for me than anything, right? I use this as an opportunity to A, educate you guys, but also B, to educate myself. And I just haven't done this for a while. So we're going to dig in and we're going to do it. I do know Port St. Lucie. Let me do share screen. I believe our median price point is at $420 for a single family home. We're going to see how accurate I am here. But I do not know where the other two cities are. I'm going to make guesses. Uh-oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh my gosh, excuse me. My kids tease me that I got a dad sneeze, man. I can't get rid of it. Woo! All right, we're going to look at the last 90 days, roughly 7/29/2025. That's roughly 90 days. And my gosh, we're 2 days away from Halloween. Isn't that crazy? Time is a flying. Someone was saying, can you believe it's October already? I said, I can't believe it's 2025 already. All right, so we got 1,209. You can see it right up here in the top left corner. 1,209 homes. These are single-family homes, so they are not condos, not townhouses, not modular homes. And they sold in the last 90 days in Port St. Lucie. We want to see what the median price point is. So I'm going to look up sold price. So we want to find that 605th. All right. So I'm going to go let's go 415. So I need what? 36. 36 from the bottom will be our median because I got rid of everything under 415. I'm betting it's going to be 420. 36 is right here. It is 420. Boom. I feel good about that. But I cheat. I look every single Monday, and unless that number changes, which it does, but unless that number changes over the last 2 days, I was going to get that one. So 420 is our median price point here in Port St. Lucie. Let's get rid of sold price 415, and let's get rid of Port St. Lucie. And now let's dig into the city. Let's go Stuart. I'm guessing Stuart's going to be around 530, although I have no idea. I know they're going to be higher. So we got 244 sales. So I want the 122nd and 123rd average to get the median. 122nd, 123rd is right here, 615, 615. So it is 615. I was way off. That is Stuart. So you are paying almost exactly, it's a little bit less, but almost exactly 50% more to live in a median house in Stuart than you are in Port St. Lucie. Maybe it's, I remember one of these was a little bit more affordable. Maybe it's Palm City that's going to be in the low to mid 300s. Let's take a look. Okay, so Palm City had 164 sales. So we got to look at the average of the 82nd and 83rd. So let's get in here. 82nd, 83rd is, oh, I went too fast. 685, 695. So holy smokes, Palm City is 690. That's crazy. That is crazy. Last time I did this, admittedly, it was probably 6 to 12 months ago. There was one of them in the 5s. The other one was in the 6s. But you're looking at, I don't know if you can see my screen right now. I think you can, the calculator. So 690 minus the 420 for a median home in Port St. Lucie, that's 270. Divided by the 420, you're paying 64% more for a very similar home in Palm City than you are in Port St. Lucie. 615 in Stuart minus 420 divided by 420, you're paying 46% more to live in Stuart versus Port St. Lucie for roughly the same exact house. Very interesting information. And, I'm going to hurt some feelings here, but I'm going to say it anyway. When I first moved here, which was close to 7 years ago now, man, time does fly. The big pitch for Martin County was, well, the school district's way better. Of course, people want to live there. That is becoming less and less true. And that's not an insult to Martin County, but St. Lucie schools have dramatically improved just in the time I've been here. And their test scores have gotten phenomenal. We've got some of the best schools in the state. Very happy with their schools. If you go look up online the test scores, they compete with some of the best schools in the state. So very happy with what we've got here. Now, I will say, if you're looking to be in an average home, maybe you've got family down there. Maybe you've got a job in, Fort Lauderdale or West Palm. I get it, right? That's a lot of extra money to be paying for a similar home just to live 10, 15 minutes closer. But if you want to be near the beach, you can be 5-10 minutes away from the beach in Stewart or Palm City. You can't do that in most parts of Port St. Lucie, right? I'm in the west part and tradition of Port St. Lucie. It takes me a good 25, 35 minutes to get to the beach, whether I go up to Fort Pierce or I come down to Stewart. So I do understand those points. I'm a financial guy, though, and I'm always looking for value. And for me, unless it's your last home or you're incredibly financially well off and you don't care about paying 50, 60% more, for me, the bang for your buck is obvious in Port St. Lucie. No major crime. It's been one of the top 10 safest big cities in America for the last, 8, 9, 10 years. Phenomenal schools, close to the beach. I'm a little biased, but I love Port St. Lucie, and I don't think there's a better value for your buck anywhere. If you ask the locals, this is obviously not for the locals, they know what I'm about to say, but if you're out of the area and you ask the locals, what's the biggest problem with Port St. Lucie? 8 or 9 out of 10 are going to say the traffic. We got too many people coming and it's created horrible traffic. And that's true. The traffic has definitely gotten worse than it was 5, 10, 20 years ago. However, if you've ever lived, I lived in between DC and Baltimore, the traffic there was nuts. I lived in Washington State in Olympia, where we had, I think it was I-5. It was one highway or interstate or whatever it was. I-5, it must be an interstate. That was your only option. I remember one day we had a train derail over the interstate, and instead of taking 15 minutes to get home, it took me 6 hours and 6 minutes to get home because that was your only option for a road. Otherwise, you had to go way out in Timbuktu, right? So I don't think traffic here is all that bad, but I'm speaking based on my experiences throughout life driving. If you're coming from New York, New Jersey, you're probably not going to think it's that bad. If you're coming from Okeechobee, you're probably going to think it's crazy here, right? So it's all relative. But that is probably the only consistent negative that I've heard from people. They will talk about taxes being higher, but I'll tell you, again, you go talk to New York, New Jersey people, they're going to tell you the taxes down here are crazy low. And I would say, too, one of the things I love about Port St. Lucie so much compared to other cities is it's so well manicured. I mean, the landscaping looks great. All of the medians look phenomenal. They got the palm trees. They put up the Christmas lights, sidewalks, street lights everywhere. I think they maintain it really well. Tradition does a great job. That whole Tradition Square area looks beautiful. All the HOAs, for the most part, look really good. I love that. And I love being in a city that looks like that and presents like that. And I'm willing to pay extra money for that. I don't want to go to an area where I save on taxes, but I don't have all that well-manicured stuff, right? I want the well-manicured stuff. So for me, I love it. But if you're not into that, I completely get it. If you want to save taxes, Okeechobee is a beautiful area. It's incredibly affordable. And really, you're only 45 to 60 minutes away. But if you want amazingness, if you want beauty, if you want the great schools, if you want to be close to the ocean, I'm telling you, man, Port St. Lucie is where it's at. I don't know why I erupted into a Port St. Lucie commercial, but I love it here, man. I love it. All right, guys, hopefully that was helpful. If you've got any questions or there's anything you'd like me to dig into in a future Florida Treasure Coast Market Update. Feel free to let me know in the comments or by sending me a private DM on Facebook. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Take care.